How do we work less and get more done? First thing that you have to recognize in ministry, you will never be done with ministry, right? There's never like a week that you go, I'm finished. It's like that old commercial. I don't know if you remember it. This guy is at his computer late at night and he's surfing the net, and his wife says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm surfing the net." And he goes, "Oh, I'm done. I finished it." You don't finish surfing the net. You don't finish doing ministry. So the question is not how do you do your ministry and get it completed. The question is, which ministry are you going to leave uncompleted? Make sense? So if you have 4 hours to work in a week, what are you going to do? If you have 10 hours to work in a week, what are you going to do? If you have 50 hours to work in a week, what are you going to do? You have to figure out what is the most important thing for you to do. Let me give you a couple of principles with that. One is called the Pareto principle, better known as the 80-20 principle. 80% in anything, 80% of results are from 20% of the effort. You look at a football game. 20% of the plays produce 80% of the yards. 20% of the players produce 80% of the points. In a church, 20% of the congregation gives 80% of the money. In a Chrysler Corporation, 20% of the workers are responsible for 80% of the product. It is an inalienable principle, 80-20. So you have to ask yourself, what's my 20%? Let me shift illustrations. I tell my students that they could actually read 5 books in the time they read one, because 80% of the meaning of a book, 80% of the content of a book is actually in 20% of the words. First paragraph, last paragraph, and the first sentence of each paragraph. So you could actually read 5 books in the time it takes one and get 400 units of information as opposed to 100 units of information. I don't know if that math made any sense to you, but I think you get the idea. In ministry, there are 20% of the things that we do that yield 80% of the benefit. You need to figure out what those 20% of the things are for you in your setting to do. And then not worry about the other 80%, because the fact is you don't have another 80%, you have another 160%, and you can only get half done what needs to be done. Second principle, delegation. Now the 160 has to be done, so somebody's going to have to do it. Maybe what your 20% is in delegating the 160% that needs to get done that you will never get done. If you don't delegate, you're going to die. And if you're not delegating, I bet I know why. Don't take this wrong, but you're probably really good at what you do. And there's probably no one in the world who's quite as good as you. And if they don't do it like you, then it's not done right. You got to get over that. There's another reason people don't delegate is because they think, I don't want people to think I'm lazy. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to push through it. That is completely unhealthy. If you're working 80 hours a week in ministry and you're grumpy on Sunday morning when it comes to ministering to the people that you've been working so hard for all week, and you say, come into class now, sit down. That's not a win for anybody. We need you healthy. Got it? We need you rested. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is just go take a nap. Find someone who would be willing to do this job and then release it to them. When we delegate, we have to follow the biblical principle of spiritual gifts. You might be immensely gifted with people, but not immensely gifted with study. You don't have to do both. Delegate what is outside of your sweet spot to other people. Again, I bet I know why you don't. You don't want to give dirty laundry to somebody else to fold. But look, I'm a weird duck in that I love to study. I can literally go 12 hours a day in a study without even taking a break. I just love it. Most people would rather be beat in the forehead with a 2x4. That's me. So if you're delegating something, you are not giving dirty laundry. You're giving spiritual opportunity. I guarantee you everything that you don't like to do, somebody else does, including filing, including crunching numbers, including washing cars. I mean, there are people who like all of those things. Find someone in the church who loves to do what you hate, and get this, give them the opportunity to do what God has crafted them to do. And you might even find, if you're patient enough, that they do it better than you.